Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Time for a little lesson on circumference and area. To do a little review here, the circumference of a circle is how far is it all the way around a circle. And the formula for getting that is c equals d times pi, or c equals 2r pi. To calculate the thing, you have to know what c stands for and d and pi, all that stuff stands for. Well, d stands for this thing called diameter. The diameter of a circle is how far it is straight across, going through the center. R is this thing called the radius, which is going from the center out to the edge. The radius on your circle everywhere is going to be the exact same. And then pi is a constant. We call this, it's just a fancy number we call pi, which, some people have a lot of fun memorizing digits for, but we're starting with 3.1415926, and it just keeps going. It just goes on forever and ever and ever and doesn't repeat. It doesn't have a set repeating pattern. Well, once you have all those pieces in place, you can calculate the circumference of a circle using one of our two formulas. So if you happen to have diameter, you can just do diameter times pi. If you have the radius, you can do 2 times the radius and then times by pi. And that's because diameter is 2 times the radius. And so you can, if you have radius, you can get diameter. If you have diameter, you can get radius. You just, times by 2 or divide by 2. And so we're going to do that. The instructions do say to use your calculator's value of pi. So don't manually type in 3.14 or 3.1415. Once you actually push second and then the exponent button above there, it has the pi symbol. And so we're going to use that. So we're going to do number 1 here. We have a radius, and so I'm going to use that. Circumference is 2 times my radius times pi. I'm going to plug in 4 here. So circumference is 2 times 4 times pi. And I can put that entire right side in my calculator and get an approximate answer. So 2 times 4 times pi. And I'm getting, you get 25.13274123. It just kind of keeps going there. It says to round to the nearest tenth, and so we're going to round to that first decimal place. So I got to look at my second one. It's not 5 or bigger, and so I'm just going to cut it off. We got about 25.1, and it's m, which stands for meters, about 25.1 meters for our circumference on this one. So yeah, that's what we're doing on the first 4. When you get to the next one, it asks for the area of a circle, which is how much space does the inside of this encircle. And so there's a slightly different formula for that. Most people learn this one. Area is pi r squared. That's probably the easiest one to remember. But if you took what we learned a little bit earlier, that diameter is twice the radius, you can also write a formula that area is pi times diameter divided by 2 squared. Not as, doesn't flow as well. Often we just use this guy and then convert a diameter into radius, and that will go from there. And so let's actually use this formula on one where we have a diameter. So I'm going to use it on number 7 here. So remember, area is pi r squared. I'm going to take this diameter and cut it in half. So I'm going to do 22 divided by 2 to get my r value, which is going to be 11. And I'm going to put that in my lovely formula. So area is pi times 11 squared. Again, use your calculator. Use the value that the calculator has for pi, which is quite a few digits, and help us try to be as accurate as we can with the current tools. So I'm going to do pi times 11 squared, and I get 380.13271111. Again, we're going to round this off just to the first decimal place. The second one was 3, so we're going to round it off there. And now we got it, and this is in yards, so we'll put yards on there. So yeah, that's what's going on in that section. Plug in the formula to get circumference, plug in the formula to get area. You've probably done these things before. It might have been a couple years, but you should have done it before. If this is completely new to you, it's the formulas. You plug things in. It's great. The next sections require you to go backwards. because it's going to give you an area, or it's going to give you an area, and you have to get diameter or radius, or sometimes you have to go all the way back to getting the circumference when you're given the area. And so we're going to use our formulas to help us make these a little bit easier. So we need to find the diameter and radius of each of these circles. It gives us an area. Remember, the area is pi r squared. And so I can do a little bit of rearranging of the formula. If I divide by pi, I know that area over pi equals r squared. Well, I don't want r squared, I just want r, so I can square root it. So if I want to get my area, I can just do the square root of area divided by pi, and that'll give me my radius. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my area and divide it by pi and square root it, and that's going to equal r. So I'm going to take 172 divided by pi, and I get 54.7, whatever. I need to square root that thing. And I'm going to get r is about, again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth, 7.3999, so 7.4, which means my diameter, which is going to be double that, is going to be about 14.8. Ta-da! So it can be handy to rearrange your equation to solve for the thing you're trying to get and help you, get your answers a bit faster. Let's jump to this last section here. We need to find the circumference when we're just given area. And so you can kind of combine the formulas. That circumference is diameter times pi, or I can put everything in terms of radius, so it's 2r pi, and know that area is pi r squared. I could rearrange this for r, and then I could put that in my formula there to get what that is. If that's sounding a bit complicated to you, that's okay. You can first just get r and then plug it into our circumference equation there. It takes 2 steps instead of just one giant thing you plug in, but it's your life. You can kind of choose how you want to do that. But yeah, go ahead and use area to get the radius using a little formula here, and then you can get your radius and plug it into the circumference one. You kind of have to go through a little process. But there you go. That's what's going on with this lovely little assignment on circumference and area, and good luck with your assignment.